friends of the show, Ross McLean and Daryl Monahan, and some other things. Let's flip it over to the things that are in the news here with Mayor Rob Ford. You saw it, the picture in the Sun, talking about, or you showing him, I guess, driving and also looking at documents. The question, we're going to bring Daryl Monahan in to talk about this as well, also a former Toronto police officer. He's a retired staff sergeant. He has some very strong opinions on it. Before we get to Daryl, Ross McLean, tell us what you think of this, with the mayor.
Well, I'll say this. I mean, you shouldn't be driving that way. But that being said, one of the things I did in a past life was I did close protection work for billionaires. And I drove over 10 billionaires and did executive protection for them. And I trained drivers for billionaires, and I trained them for CEOs and everything else. And you can actually do a cost-benefit analysis, Joe, that shows you actually get more money's worth out of your mayor or your CEO by giving him a driver.
Yeah, it's interesting. And the Toronto Police, I'm going to get you to lock in Ross there for me, Mike, if you can, and then we'll go to Daryl as well. Are you there, Daryl? Okay, we're going to try to get Daryl on. Why don't we take a break here, guys? We'll take a break and we'll come back to both Ross and Daryl, and we'll talk a little bit about the mayor. You're listening to In-Depth Radio, News Talk 1010. Welcome back to the show. It's really great to have you all listening. We're talking about a lot of different things today, and now we're on to the situation that Ryan and John talked about, and a lot of other people today on News Talk 1010 about Mayor Ford. Driving and looking at the documents, and we had Ross McLean on, and we're going to try to get him back on. We've got a little technical trouble, and we've got I think we've got Ross back, and we're hoping to get Daryl Monahan on as well, but we're having a hard time locking you in here, Ross. While we're trying to get Daryl back, we may have to clear you to go to Daryl because we're having trouble with the computer. But tell us quickly what you think of the mayor's situation there.
Yeah, I think you should absolutely have a driver. I mean, you can get way more work out of it. I used to work for one executive. He lived in Oakville, worked in downtown Toronto. I used to drive people up to meet him at 6 in the morning so they could talk to him on the way into the office, and people would ride with him in the car on the way back to his house so they could have meetings. So, I mean, I told the guy, look, the company's getting 20% more out of you for the same price. So I really think he needs to look at getting a driver.
Now, the police have put that on their website, and now we've got Daryl. Daryl, sorry for the trouble here. I'm learning the buttons still. Welcome to the Late Shift once again. Daryl Monahan, retired staff sergeant, and you're on again with Ross McLean, a former Toronto police officer. Daryl, you've heard a little bit of what Ross has said, that he needs to get a driver. What are your thoughts on this story?
I've followed it. Well, my opinion on it is the mayor should have a driver. For no other reason that it keeps him on an agenda and itinerary. The reason he probably wouldn't want a driver is that he's going to be more accountable and he can't fly under the radar. Ross said some very interesting things today when he was talking about the Lesage report and that, which...
we'll come back to Lesage in a second, but...
no, it's not about that. He was talking about codes of conduct and conflicts of interest, and the mayor, his driving habits keep becoming a public issue.
Why don't the police deal with it? I mean, if it was anybody else, you can be pretty sure there'd be something said about it.
Well, the police and the constable that mentioned it in the newspaper on, I think it was on your website, he said that there was no evidence of a careless driving, and he wasn't, in fact, committing an offense in distracted driving, and that's true. He wasn't. And in order to get a careless driving offense, there would have to be an interview with the person that actually took the picture. There's a whole host of things that have to be proven,
right.
And it's normally more than 2 offenses at the same time. It's not what an ordinary person would do in the circumstances and so forth. But I guess with respect to the driver issue, the mayor is bound by the code of conduct for members of council. And he's supposed to act in a way that would bear close public scrutiny. He's supposed to uphold both the letter and spirit of the law.
But I'm
not seeing any of this happening.
Well, you know what? In fairness, I want to say that I think that if I followed you around, Daryl, I would find a driving infraction, and I think the same would go for Ross. I mean, you guys don't have people taking your pictures, and neither do I. This guy does. I mean, he goes in and gets chicken or whatever he does, and these are people that want to take him down politically and otherwise. So I just want to throw that in the mix. You know what I mean, guys?
No, of course. But the difference here, Joe, is that if I'm out there driving my own personal vehicle as a citizen, and I get caught by the police, then I get an infraction or so forth. But as soon as you enter the public eye, it's well known that politicians there's close public scrutiny, and that's the way, because we hold our politicians, our elected members, to a higher standard than Daryl Monahan.
No kidding, Ross.
And that's just not it's just not happening.
Ross, so what are your thoughts?
Oh, well, there's no doubt about it. The mayor has his enemies who will take any chance to take a shot at him and say or do something here. But I think they should be looking at the constructive side of it and saying, we need to build this into the budget to have them looked after, make it more accountable. It's not safe doing that. I mean, he's trying to save money, but sometimes by saving the money, penny wise, pound foolish kind of thing. I'd hate to see him in a bad accident. I really would.
We've only got about 45 seconds left. Daryl, you heard the part about Ross's report on the situation. You kind of alluded to it with Regent Park. Did you have a chance to read his report, and do you have an opinion on that?
No, I didn't read it, but it just seems that council and members of government and who they hire to investigate or make reports, it always comes out the same way. When does the public start to sort of just turn away from it and go, well, whatever, just waste the money, we're not paying attention? Well, it's going to be a shame if the public isn't paying attention anymore, but
I think the public is paying attention. I think the politicians just aren't listening, Joe.
No.
I think they're just not listening. I think they're saying there's nothing you can do to me, so
they're
keep on going our way.
There's no accountability. Well, listen, I really appreciate you both coming on here on the Late Shift. You're great guests and great friends of the show, and you both bring excellent points. I mean, both Daryl and Ross. Daryl is Eyes on Toronto, and Ross, McLeansecurity.com.
Thanks, Joe. Keep up the great work.
All the best. All the best, guys. And thank you to all the guests here today. And thank you to the listeners. We'll see you next Tuesday. It's been amazing. Thank you, Mike, as well, for a great job. We got through it again, flying the jet. So now it's time for news, and we'll see you next week. Scrawler out.